What is up, y'all? Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us. We, of course, are the Alternates. I am your host, Brian Cullen. And Clayton Stevens is not with us today. He is he's been fired, if we're being honest. He is
injured reserve.
On the IR right now. He's on the road with his band Entry, playing some shows in Colorado. We hope that he is doing well, having fun out there. We know that he's killing it because he'd probably hate me saying this, but he's an incredibly talented musician and writes awesome songs.
Wow.
Hey, if I shit on him, I got to wipe it up too. You know what I mean?
He's guitar extraordinaire.
Guitar extraordinaire, to put it lightly. But that means that we have a guest co-host with us today. And joining me is the return of Benny the Bull's felonious cousin.
That's right.
Alfred Brown IV.
Hello, all. It's good to see you again. Here to represent... I guess the old heads, as we'll talk about later.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You all know Alfred from his previous appearance on the show, singer of the band Dangers, owner of the gym Gate 14. I almost said 16.
It's
someday.
Yeah.
You guys will grow up, don't worry.
One day
we'll throw a sweet 16 for you guys.
Also a good guitarist in my own right. No one knows I play guitar on all the records, so take that.
Also
Clayton.
a good guitar and a drummer?
Yeah, with my fingers.
With your fingers. Okay, fair enough.
Good hand drummer.
We've got a great show lined up for you today. Before we jump in, I want to take a quick second, ask you all to subscribe to the show on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Go ahead, leave us a comment, like the video, leave us a rating and review, all of that good stuff. And most importantly, share the show because it helps people just like you find us so that we can continue to build our incredible little alt community here. If you want to get a hold of us, you can do so by emailing comments and questions to thealternatehoop@gmail.com, and go ahead and follow the show on TikTok at thealternatesNBA. Al, how the hell are you?
I'm doing all right. It's been an interesting interim since last I was here.
Yeah.
Some of my hopes, the basketball gods came through. All the Warriors are healthy. So I'm getting to enjoy an incredible playoff run from... it's been a really good playoffs, I think, you know?
You think it's been a good playoffs overall, even with all the blowouts and all of that?
Yeah. You know why? Because it seems like there's new blood, and you can see the future kind of creeping in. It's a transition playoff, I feel like. And I'm excited just to... You never know what each game's going to be. You never know if, like, it might be a blowout, but you don't know which team's going to blow out the other team.
Right.
Like, it's gone both ways in a lot of these series.
The blowout balance is in effect.
And it has been, I think in a time in the world, which is like there's increasingly crazy stuff going on outside of the world, I have actually found myself finding solace in just sitting down for 2 hours and being like, hey, I'm invested in what's going on.
Yeah,
so
sports is great for that.
I'm appreciating the NBA for giving me a little bit of respite, as it were.
Yeah. No, it's I think what you're talking about, that kind of escape that it's giving us, the able to turn off the horrifying just updates of the world and all of that. It's this playoffs and this season is what the bubble wanted to be.
Bread and circus is not always good for civilization moving forward, but it is important for an individual in a moment to get through some of the crazy, you know?
Yeah. Well said. Well, with that, let's jump into headliners.
Let's do it.
There's obviously one thing we got to talk about here.
One game on the schedule.
One game, on this this insane final schedule of a week and a half between games. But Game 3 happened last night in Boston, and the Celtics at home win this 116-100, giving them a 2-1 lead over the series. It was an incredible game. It was wild. I got to say, my man Scott Foster was in his bag. Love to see Scofo out there. Interesting thing, I think the Celtics are now 13-0 in the playoffs with Scott Foster officiating.
Interesting.
Yeah, I love Scott Foster stats.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's like the Chris Paul Scott Foster stats.
They should put those up. They should run some of those stats before the game and just see how, because I did not know that they were 13-0.
It's something like that, Or maybe it's not 13-0. Maybe it's like
they're winning. They're feeling good when they see him on the ticket.
Very confident when that man walks on the floor with a whistle. Wild game, incredible first quarter from the Celtics. Jaylen Brown was everywhere in that first quarter. He was responsible for, I think, 27 of the 33 Celtics.
Yeah, either
points.
scoring or distributing the ball.
Yeah,
Just
he was
everywhere he needed to be. It was incredible.
He was unreal in that first quarter. Jason Tatum had a great second half.
Yep.
Klay Thompson actually looked pretty good in this game.
Yep.
Andrew Wiggins, I thought, was impactful.
Yep.
And then, the Celtics had that great first quarter. They weathered a couple runs from the Warriors heading up to halftime.
Yep.
And then, of course, the Warriors come out with their patented third quarter storm.
The NBA's 31st team, as Jalen Rose likes to call them. Yeah.
They weathered that. They took that punch like a champ and then put on a clinic in the fourth quarter. And I got to say, the Celtics in this game, the way they were able to kind of take these punches and overall been able to take punches from the Warriors, it's with their pose.
Yeah.
If anybody's ever been in a fight, or
so good,
maybe not even a fight, but been beat up, even this actually applies to like any kind of like physical, like a car accident or something like that. The best thing to do when you're going to take any kind of impact,
You got to brace. Yeah.
no, it's relax.
Oh, okay.
You
Okay.
relax because
Okay.
you'll kind of go with the motion of it.
This is why I get beat up. I'm tensed up.
Bracing, so like especially like in car accidents, they say broken bones typically happen from people bracing and tensing up because your muscles will break your bone.
Yeah. Interesting.
And so you just kind of relax, and they have that. They
Yeah.
have that like, all right, and you just kind of go with the punch and then you come back. And they did that beautifully in the fourth quarter. They held the Warriors to 11 points in the fourth quarter, which is the third lowest score in a finals fourth quarter in the shot clock era of the NBA.
Incredible too that is the stat that we're associating with the Warriors, right?
Yeah,
With Splash
They're on
Brothers,
the wrong side of
with
that.
pool parties, and 11 points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Now, to be fair, there was at least 6 of those minutes where there was no starters on the floor.
Oh,
I
it was,
think,
yeah,
right?
garbage time for sure.
But to hold them still to that stat is an incredible show of force from the Celtics in that fourth quarter.
Absolutely. So let's get into stud, dud, flood.
Yep.
As we do here. I'm going to start us off with the stud. And as I was saying, there were multiple candidates here for stud. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum were great.
Yeah.
Marcus Smart, I think, ended with like 24 points, and it was like the quietest 24 points ever.
A lot of candidates out there on their team.
A lot of candidates, but one I got to go to. There's one that really stands out to me. His name is Robert Williams III, Time Lord himself. In this game, this playoffs, it feels anything revolving around Time Lord is just bizarre.
Yeah.
It's just so bizarre.
Yeah.
You kind of don't know what's going on with him, if he's healthy or not, if he's going to play, what kind of game you're going to get out of him. He ends this game. He had 4 blocks in this game and 3 steals, only 8 points, but clearly they didn't need more than that from him. But an efficient 8 points,
Yep.
4 of 5 from the floor. He was catching lobs. Time Lord is back.
Yeah.
But what really sealed the stud deal for me, the stud stamp
Stamp of approval. Yeah.
the stud of approval, is that he did all of this in 26 minutes. Yeah. And it's not just that he did all of it in 26 minutes. As I said, his health has been a big question. The dude looked like he couldn't run up the court half the time. It was like watching somebody who forgot to put their lifts in their shoe because they got one leg shorter than the other. It was painful to watch him run in transition at times. And yet he's still getting up 4 blocks. He's still catching lobs, 4 or 5. It was incredible. Like I just have to think with how he looked running. It reminded me of like Any Given Sunday when the guy's like, come on, Doc, give me that cortisone shit. And like, he's just taking ejections in the knee, but he was fantastic in this game.
Yeah. And I think that it comes down to like impact players, right? You expect all your stars to show out. You need like, that's just the given. And they always talk about role players. And I guess he might be a quote unquote role player, but it's impact. And when he was on the floor, the game was very, very skewed towards the Boston Celtics.
Yeah.
It just seemed as though whether it was penetration, whether it was floor spacing, whether it was, the other set on there, what he had, 10 rebounds, something like that?
Yeah, 10 rebounds.
It's not just getting a rebound, right? Because, Steph might get 12 rebounds, but they're sort of the long ones that you're getting and you're running on transition. Williams got these rebounds that were impactful. Like we're down or the game is close. It's 4 points or it's 6 points. If we don't get this offensive rebound, they might cut the lead a little bit more. And he's getting these rebounds that shift the momentum of the game. He's in the right spot. He's reading where the ball is going to fall. And there's two in particular that I would just sit there and went, this guy, he is a younger player, but was in a veteran spot. Like he knew where to be, and he just reached over the top of Draymond Green and said, "This is my ball. This is my rebound. You're not going to have it." And you could just sense that when he was on the court, the Warriors did not really have an answer to what was going on.
Yeah. I mean, we talk about clutch scoring, clutch shots a lot. We don't talk a lot about clutch rebounds. And especially, I mean, you said there was garbage time, so it's not like I'm talking about, clutch in like the last 5 minutes of a close game. I like just clutch in the sense of being able to control the momentum of the game, keep things in your favor, and he was so good at that. He was great.
Yeah.
All right, well, we got to hit the other side of that spectrum.
Well, yeah, and it's what we just said. Who is the dud in this game? Pretty obvious to anybody with eyeballs, I think, watching this game. That's all you needed. You don't even need to know the sport of basketball that well. Draymond Green just coming up short.
Yeah.
Just not pulling his weight. I mean, stat-wise, we can look at it. 2 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, fouls out of the game.
Yeah.
Right? Yelling at the referees. What's this called? The thing about Draymond, right? He's supposed to be Mr. Intangibles, right? We're not expecting a 25-point game out of Draymond Green, but we are expecting you to do the intangibles. Get the rebound that's really, really important when you're down 3, you're down 4. We need this rebound, or we need this offensive rebound. We're on transition. I got the ball in my hand. I got all of this firepower up front. He had 2 breakaway turnovers, and I just remember watching him sitting there. Pass. He had to stand and watch Jaylen Brown tomahawk dunk because he didn't want to take the foul. And it's like, that's your fault. You threw the ball to Al Horford in transition when you had many options. Just keep dribbling.
Yeah.
Just a lot of mistakes that are maybe not even uncharacteristics because he'll make some of these mistakes sometimes. But to have a game, where it just seemed like the things that you are really good at, that the team is expecting you to do, the intensity where you're trying to bring it on the court, it just got funneled all in the wrong direction. It just was a catastrophe for him. And I remember him sitting there lining up to take his 3. He had 2 3-point shots wide open, no one even going out there to guard him. Even if he makes 1, it shifts the entire game. He's out there, and I don't know how you feel about this, but I feel as though it's 4v5 when he was on the court.
100%. And that's been kind of an issue. And Draymond is great. He is fantastic. You're talking about the things that he does. I don't know if I've ever seen a defender read opposing offenses as well as he does. Half the times it seems like he knows what the other team is going to do before they do. Yep. And he wasn't doing that in this game. It seemed even from the beginning that there was almost like a lack of, I don't know, if interest, like I don't want to like be crazy and say that he didn't have any interest in it, but there was just kind of a lack of focus in his game. And yeah, he wasn't doing those things. And then your point to the, when they're on offense, it's 4 against 5.
It's a black hole over there.
It is, and it's tough. And what's so strange about that to me, because this is an issue for the Warriors, is if they're not in transition and they're playing half-court offense, there's a guy on the perimeter in Draymond Green that the Celtics do not have to even think about if the ball goes to him.
Yeah.
But we've seen Draymond Green be an okay offensive player. That first title run that these guys had, he was hitting open threes. He was aggressive in getting to the rim. He had some mid-range. Like, he had more in there, and it's almost like he is bought into the narrative of Draymond Green. He's bought into his own narrative that's been labeled on him as being this intangibles guy that doesn't need to score a lot. And he's just completely stopped even trying to be a scorer. And they don't need him to score a ton, but you need defenses to respect him a little bit. It's almost like, look, great players will change and shift their game slightly to work better with other great players and complement each other. Right. Like, that's what the greats do. Role players, stars, they all do it. And he's so good at that with Steph Curry, but I feel like he's almost gone too far into that in being what Steph isn't and trying, and it's just right now it's hurting the Warriors.
Agreed. And I think, we'll move into our flood idea here because it parlays into who you have on the court. But I think I watched him miss two breakaway layups, and ask for expect a foul. That's the scoring we're looking for. I don't need you to score 25 points, but I need on a throwout, and you've got 1v1 with Jaylen Brown chasing you down. Jump stop, let him run by you, and then just lay the ball in the net.
Be Robert Williams.
8
points.
Yeah, that's all I need, man. It would have changed in impactful points. You know, when they got into these positions, you can tell that another team's about to make a run, or you can tell that they're trying to withstand the run, and you can break it open if you get this layup.
Yeah,
and he missed it. Yeah, you know, and it just broke my heart to watch him out there.
Yeah, it was tough. It was tough. Okay, so that means we're gonna move on, as you said, to the flood, and I'm gonna open the floods today on Steve Kerr.
Yeah.
This is about game 3. I want to make that clear at the top. This is about game 3. This is not an indictment on Steve Kerr as a head coach, his career in coaching. He is great. We know that. He's got the rings to prove it.
Hall of Famer coach. Yes, go ahead.
Absolutely, absolutely. But every great coach, every coach has some shortcomings. They have some deficiencies, and Kerr isn't without his. You know, like I feel like maybe his systems have been a bit too Steph centric, which obviously have won him titles, but it almost feels like at times there's no plan B to Steph on the floor. Which whatever. That's not even the point. I'm getting off track here. His deficiencies in game 3 was about his rotations. Kerr, what were you doing in this game? I had to question so much, and I think what's so upsetting about it to me is knowing how good he is and what a great coach he is, and his ability to make in-game adjustments and know his players and what they're good at and how to shift things. And we know that he can do it because he did it in game 2.
Exactly. He did it in game 2.
He did it in game 2. Yeah. And the things that he did in game 2 that got them that convincing win and made them look incredible, he just completely went away from. So they've been their thing this playoffs has been killing teams on the boards. They destroyed Dallas on the boards, and that's a huge part of what won them these games. They get them to the finals. Now, obviously, they're facing a better rebounding team than fucking Dwight Powell, right? Like you've got better rebounders in Boston, but they still, you saw even in the first 2 games, they can still dominate that side of the game, but they got killed in game 3. 31 rebounds for the Warriors, 6 offensive to Boston's 47, 15 offensive boards for Boston.
15 offensive. 15 second chance opportunities.
That's insane.
That's a lot.
That's insane. And thank you for highlighting the offensive boards, because that's what the Warriors have been so good at is second chance opportunities.
And kickouts from that to hit the 3 that keeps that score rolling up.
Exactly. You've got your defense scrambling to get the rebound while you still have 3 or 4 guys out on the perimeter ready to shoot it. They struggled to do that. And in that, Looney in this game only played 17 minutes. Yeah. He was a big part of that. Clayton and I talked about how he was going to be a big character in this series because of his ability to really highlight that aspect of the Warriors game in rebounding, getting second chance opportunities, keeping the other guys off the glass. He hit 7 boards in 17 minutes. That's great.
Yep.
Why would you not try to ride that a little bit more? Gary Payton II. Yeah. This is one of the biggest adjustments in game 2, I thought, was putting Gary Payton II out there. His defense, his ability to affect the game, do all of these things was incredible. He only played 11 minutes in this game. I don't understand how you watched what happened in game 2 and then say you're playing 10 minutes in game 3.
Yeah, and just looking at Kerr, it seemed like he was out of his league at times when he was over there. It's just shots of him, the stare on his face. I'm sitting there looking at the foul trouble that Steph got into, the foul trouble that Draymond clearly got into, and you're looking at a bench where heard all this talk about Jonathan Kuminga.
Yeah.
I didn't see him once out on the court in purposeful minutes where go ahead and guard Jason Tatum for a while. Let him rack up a couple fouls on there. Make it harder. Make it more physical on him. Yeah. Or even deciding who you want to beat you. You know, in the NBA these days, I don't want Jason Tatum to beat me. I don't want Jaylen Brown to go off. So make sure the ball's getting out of their hands and make some of the role players earn their money. If, you know, I always kept saying, if Marcus Smart beats me with 3-point shots, okay, but he's not going to hit them in the same percentage that Jaylen Brown's going to get hit his, or that you know Tatum's going to get to the rim. Make the other people win, and it seems such an obvious thing to me. Yeah, to get the people on the court that make those things happen, and he just did not.
Yeah, and Kuminga can also score the ball, which is what they were struggling to do, which the last point here for me that was so bizarre from Steve Kerr. Draymond fouls out. You saw the team struggling in half-court offense with a guy that the defense was ignoring, and he puts in Andre Iguodala. Like, I was like, that's what you're replacing him with, another guy that the defense doesn't respect on offense. Like, and let alone a guy that has barely played with this roster, and you're going to change the chemistry in the finals. Like, what are we doing here? It didn't make any sense. He's got a lot of work to do to take a look and see where he went wrong and make those adjustments for game 4 so that the Warriors have a chance to tie this up, because they're going back home, but Boston's better on the road. Yeah, they are a better team on the road.
Yeah, you've got two. If Draymond and Steve Kerr have better games, the Warriors could have beat them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, last little bit here in headliners. I threw this in here because you are the resident curmudgeon old head.
I'll take it.
On the alternates.
I'll take it.
And so we've got another, this keeps coming up every now and then. We've got another battle of the old generation players versus the new generation players. And this one all started after game 2, where Cedric Maxwell, a former Celtics player, was asked about Draymond Green. And he said Draymond would, quote, get knocked the fuck out, unquote, if he was playing in the 80s or 90s.
Right.
Draymond then replied, I think the next day, saying, okay, I'm tired of hearing 80s and 90s players say this stuff about how you'd get bullied, you wouldn't survive in the physical era of the NBA. Right. And he basically said, look, there were guys doing that. There were a handful of enforcers in that era, but only a few. The rest of you were getting bullied by these guys. Right. The rest of you were doing what you're saying would happen to me.
Right.
And it's absurd. And he brought up like Bill Laimbeer, Rick Mahorn from the Bad Boys Pistons as being the guys that, like, they'll knock you out and get kicked out of a game, but there wasn't a league full of them. And just kind of said, all right, let's calm down. The revisionism is a bit insane here. And then the last little bit, not exactly tied to it, but similar, old school, new school. Tracy McGrady was asked about where Steph Curry ranks, all as with the all-time greats. And T-Mac, said, that's a tough question, but I don't think he's in the same class as Jordan, LeBron, Kobe. He's not as good as those guys. And his reasoning behind this was that Steph's first title, he won against LeBron, LeBron's Cleveland team that didn't have Kevin Love or Kyrie Irving for the series. Okay. The next 2 that he won, he had Kevin Durant on the team, and then mentioned that, well, Steph has yet to win. He's got 3 titles. He's yet to win a Finals MVP.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna address this last one real quick.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna let you kind of go with this, because I know that this is your wheelhouse here. Tracy McGrady, you played for 16 years in the NBA. You had an incredible peak, a short peak, but an incredible peak. You never made it out of the first round of the playoffs. Once. You never made it out of there. In fact, you only won 12 playoff games total. No, 11. I'm sorry. There's 11 playoff games total that you won. I get that you were asked the question, right? Like, I get that he's asked this question. It's okay to say, you know what? I've never been at that level. Maybe I'm not the best to say that. But also, the reasoning... First of all, the first title, you're going to open the door for the asterisk conversation, which pisses me off, because you could put an asterisk on every NBA title ever if you really want to go down that road, which I'm not interested in.
It's not worth it.
The Kevin Durant one, whatever. Kevin Durant signed, it happened. Dude, you played for multiple teams. And then the Finals MVP is what bothers me the most. Because, look, that first one, say whatever you want about the Kevin Durant years. His first title... Iguodala won Finals MVP, but anybody with one partially functioning eye that watched that series knows that Steph Curry was the best player on the floor on the team.
Absolutely.
He didn't win the Finals MVP. I disagree with Iguodala getting it. Steph should have gotten it. He should have 2 or 3 of those at this point. But dude, you're talking about these fucking awards. Like, Steph doesn't care about them. Like, T-Mac, I don't know why you care. You've never even gotten close to a finals. It's so dumb to me to say that. This whole, like, Steph Curry is the greatest shooter of all time, or one of the greatest shooters of all time, but he's not one of the greats. Dude, get out of here. The greats, all the greats. You talk about the greatest players of all time. There's one thing that is similar to all of them, and it's that they had a game that other players will try to emulate, but will never, ever be able to replicate. And Steph Curry is one of those dudes. We will never see another Steph Curry. Nobody else is capable of playing the way that he does.
Yeah, the guy who's closest to doing it is on his team next to him, and he can't even be as good as Steph Curry, you know? There's a whole industry, cottage industry on sports talk radio, on whatever shows are on TV, where it's the guys who played in the harder era, and then it's the jaded, and it's not quite like it used to be. You know, and it happens in music as well. Like, well, you know, we had to tour with MapQuest, and it's like, we had to tour with calling the Greyhound bus to pick. Yeah, it's always harder. Two ways up the hill, both ways snow. Like, okay, the thing that I always say is like, these aren't teams in a vacuum. These aren't players in a vacuum. Like, yeah, they might not have played in the 80s, but these Warriors would have been very, very formidable playing against the Pistons. It would have been a toss-up to see. Both of those teams are great teams. You take those Pistons and you put them up against, any of LeBron's Cavs team, like the Heat. Like, those are going to be tough games to win. The thing, Draymond's argument or whatever's happening with Rick Mahorn's and the refereeing has changed. Yeah, that you can say definitively, and that was a conscious choice by the league to protect players a little bit more and to make it more of a sport rather than a spectacle, I would say, right? Okay, that's the refereeing that's changed. But that doesn't mean that there are players, there were 6'8", 6'9", 7'1" players in 1989, and there are those players now. And you're telling me like Giannis wouldn't hold his own? No, he would. It's just the refereeing has changed. And it's that sort of argument, you can bring this back around. I am an old head, and I do think that the game was really fun to watch in the 90s, but I also am capable enough to know that, hey, these are all elite athletes, and they have been since 65. Oscar Robertson could play in the league today too. It's not like these guys are so elite now and then they're sports. No,
they adjusted.
Every adjustment that is made over time, those same players would have made the same adjustments to what the game is now, right? So the argument just gets lost. What I really think is important is what you were saying, which is look at these teams and look at the individuals on them doing stuff that we haven't seen before.
Yeah.
That is really, really exciting. And really, this sort of argument that Steph is the best shooter of all time, Durant's the best scorer of all time, and LeBron's the best player, or maybe Michael Jordan. To me, I'm so, not even that I'm past those arguments, just appreciate that you're seeing things that we have not seen before and that people will never do again, rather than trying to compare and contrast. It's like saying, it's not an apples and oranges. It's like passion fruit and grapes, It's like these are different things, and they're all really, really impressive. And I would love to see these old heads that are in there, because I'm an old head who wants to lift them up. All of these teams that are doing these amazing things, lift them up and be like, we're not going to see this again.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe don't go after Draymond, who's a guy who
can't
shoot threes, rebounds really well, plays tough defense, commits hard fouls. What's more fucking 80s or 90s than that? It's absurd.
Dude, he versus Bill Laimbeer is something I would love to watch, because he wouldn't get knocked the fuck out. One of them would get, I don't know who it would be a great fight, So squash and enjoy. Squash all that stuff and really enjoy the NBA, man. It's such a beautiful thing, and I wish those old players would do it more often,
Yeah, that's perfect. That's beautifully said. I love that take on it. Let's move on. Let's have some fun. We're going to get out of headliners here, and we're going to play 3-pack.
Let's enjoy the NBA. Let's do it, yeah.
So I got a 3-pack ready for you today.
Oh, man. I did not do well on this last time.
You did not do well on this last time. I went in on Benny. You brought up the shirt. That was the shirt you mentioned last time.
I mentioned, that's right.
Benny the Bull. This time my inspiration has come from the finals.
Okay.
And it's come from the Warriors.
Okay.
And there's a player on the Warriors who has been called by some members of the media the third Splash Brother.
Okay.
His name is Jordan Poole.
Okay.
So
we're having a little pool party today.
We're having a pool party.
Interesting.
So I've got some Jordan Poole facts here.
Oh.
And you got to sniff out the lie.
Okay, let's try it.
So born in Milwaukee, the 22-year-old shooting guard played at the University of Michigan for 2 years before making his way to the NBA. He's become a household name this season with his ability to score and helping get the Golden State Warriors to the finals.
Yep.
That's just his intro.
That's facts. Those are facts.
Those are facts.
Okay.
Facts.
Okay.
All right. Here's the facts. 3 of them. One of them's a lie.
Okay.
Fact number 1.
Okay.
Poole declared for the NBA draft after his second year in Michigan. Despite having been a blue chip recruit and top national prospect in high school, he went undrafted. That summer, he signed a 2-way contract with the Warriors, playing mostly with their G League affiliate, the Santa Cruz Warriors, before having his contract converted full-time to the Golden State Warriors.
Okay.
Fact number 2, during the playoffs this season, Jordan Poole scored 30 points off the bench, becoming only the 5th Warrior to ever score 30 or more in an NBA playoffs game. Fact number 3, he's a cat dad. He loves cats. Poole grew up with cats as a child, and then while in Michigan, he took in a stray cat that became his cat, and then after moving to the Bay when he joined the NBA, he adopted 2 more cats from a local shelter, and he is known to train his cats like dogs, teaching them to sit and fetch.
Wow.
Which one of these did I make up?
Well, you know what I will say here? I have a deep and lifelong suspicion of cat owners and cat enthusiasts.
I should let you know right now, I am a full-blown cat dad.
I know, and it scares me because it's sort of it explains your love of the Clippers as well somehow in there. I bet there's a big overlap between
We all love withholding love.
cat dads and Clippers love. That is a fact. That is too specific. And it makes sense to me. He looks like now I'm realizing there's something about him.
Or is it just specific enough?
Fact number 2 seems also correct to me.
Okay.
Because I know that he was interviewed after most of the games in the beginning of these playoffs, and I know he was scoring a hell of a lot of points and gaining his traction, which means there's something about fact 1 that is not true. Although there's a lot of news about him going down to the G League and coming up.
He even played games in the G League this season. That is true.
But I don't think that his contract maybe was provisional or that he wasn't drafted full time. I think there's something in that first one that is not entirely true.
Okay, so 1's the lie?
1 is the lie.
All right. Well, you got it right.
Yes!
1 is the lie.
But there's parts of truth in there. It was partial lie.
Kind of.
Okay.
I did heavily make up that first one.
Okay, well, it sounded great.
He did not go undrafted. He was drafted in the first round with the 28th pick.
Got it.
So he was a first round pick. He has been assigned to the G League affiliate, the Santa Cruz Warriors. He did it even this season.
Yep.
But he was always part of the Warriors.
He's a contracted player. He's
a contracted player. The undrafted 2-way was definitely a lie.
See, but they definitely play up his G League stuff whenever they're talking about him all the announcers will be like, he's come a long way since playing down in the G League. So, yeah, but he was an undrafted player.
He won some G League award, it was G League. I don't think it was the G League MVP, but it was something that he won in the G League. He tore it up, struggled in the beginning in the NBA, but the thing they love to talk about is that he was playing in the G League this season.
Right, and now he's pool party. I will say, look, he's playing great. He has dropped off in these finals, and if the Warriors are going to win, I think he's going to play a more significant role in the last 4 games.
Well, being a cat dad, he's definitely playing close to my heart. I love that about him. I love there's a couple cat dads in the NBA.
God.
The Lopez twins.
Both of them?
Yeah, when Brooke was in Brooklyn and Robin signed to the Knicks, they got asked if they were going to live together because they were both in New York City, and they said that they couldn't because their cats don't get along. Yeah.
There's something especially creepy about identical twins who both are cat dads. There's some.
I don't appreciate any of this. I don't appreciate any of this.
Fair weather fans. That's all it is.
People that don't like cats are. They're just a very everything's got to be catered to me, and the world revolves around me. Get out of here. And I'm not hating on dogs. I love dogs too. But people that specifically don't like cats,
Oh, I hate cats.
You're
I
a-
can't.
you're a
and I'm
weak-willed-
allergic. And I'm to boot. I'm allergic.
you're a weak-willed person.
I'll
Okay.
take it.
Well, let's get into our final segment here and spend some money at the Casino of Clayton. He may be on tour, but the casino never closes.
Yeah, I'm taking your money clean.
In this week's Bet Brain. So we'll recap last week really quick, and then we'll get into this week's bets. Last week, we had game 1, Celtics at Warriors, under 212.5 combined points for the game. I kind of liked it. I could see it. 2 of the best defensive teams in the NBA. Put $50 on it, and I lost $50. The total score for the game was 228. Thank you, third quarter Warriors. Actually, thank you, fourth quarter Boston is what it was.
Right. Right.
And then game 2, Celtics at Golden State again. Al Horford and Robert Williams out-rebound Kevon Looney and Draymond Green. I loved this one. I put $50 on it. I saw it. I saw them being aggressive. And I lost. Draymond Green and Kevon Looney combined for 12 rebounds. That was 5 and 7 respectively. Horford and Williams, 10. Eight for Al Horford. Williams, not great on the glass in
If
game
this was
2.
game 3, you would have won that one.
Yeah. Absolutely. Unfortunately, the casino knows exactly how this works.
Yeah.
And then the final one was game 3, Warriors at Boston. Last night, Klay Thompson over 6.5 3-pointers made. I thought that I was going to hit this one. I was confident. He looked great. There was a moment in that game where I was like, holy shit, I'm going to win.
Yep.
But I'm a little tight in the pockets right now because I've been losing so many of these. So I only put $40 and I lost $40. I got the turkey last week at the casino. Klay Thompson went 5 of 13 from deep in the game.
And you know what? It would have been helpful. Two more 3-pointers in some clutch moments.
Yeah.
Would have actually shifted the tide, I think, 100%. A little bit in that game.
Yeah.
So that was
Klay
a
Thompson
valuable
single-handedly lost that game
so
for
it was all his
both
fault.
me and his team. Okay, so we got 3 new bets. You got to spend a minimum of $100 at the casino, and you have to place a bet, or you have to place money on each bet.
I'm winning you money back. That's what I'm doing.
I appreciate that because you were taking the bank. I love that we've just we were like tracking money at some point in this and just completely stopped doing that. And now it's just, there's money to spend. Don't worry about it. There's no way I have money after the run that I've had at the casino. So maybe somebody else handling it will be good for me.
I got some intuition, yeah.
Bet number 1, game 4, Golden State at Boston. Tatum and Brown both score 15 points or more in the game, plus 250 odds.
There's no way that doesn't happen. You know, especially
it has happened, though.
I know, but there's no way it doesn't happen. Just seeing where they had the 3 big guys, Smart, Tatum, and Brown, all 20 plus points in the game. Yeah, they're both gonna be 20 plus. I'm giving you a big win on this one.
Okay.
You're going for $100 on this one, and you're gonna come up real big.
Okay.
I'm telling you, there's no way that this doesn't happen.
All right. You're not seeing much defensive adjustment from the Warriors going into this next game, huh?
It's not. They will adjust, but they're still going to score over 15 each. There's no way they don't.
Okay. Next bet, game 5, Boston at Golden State. Warriors under 13.5 turnovers in the game, plus 350 odds. What do you think?
I mean, it's a big turnover number. That's a lot to have in a game.
That is. They're averaging 14 right now in the finals.
But I've been watching Draymond, Mr. Intangibles, throw the ball to Al Horford every time up the court.
They're always one of the highest turnover teams in the NBA.
It's how they play, fast and loose.
Yeah.
But you're in the damn. I will say, maybe the hope here is that they watch the tape back and realize, you know what you will win this bet if on breakaways, when they get the ball when they're in transition, they dribble to the other side of the court. Just get to the other half before you throw a 40-yard pass, and I think you'll get this. So I'm giving you a little bit more conservative, but $50 on this one. I think there's a chance there that they'll tighten up the ship and make sure that they are being smarter with the ball, especially in transition.
All right, love it. And then the last bet here, this is combined. Games 4 and 5, Draymond Green over 2.5 technical fouls between the 2 games, plus 800 odds. And that plus 800 is a juicy odds.
Yeah.
And it's because that would mean that Draymond would be ejected from at least one of the next 2 games. I got a slight theory actually about this because people were so upset after game 2 about him not picking up a second technical foul that they tightened up the whistle and ejected him from the game by him getting fouled out, but still not putting him in any kind of dangerous position to pick up a suspension.
Right.
Very possible. I don't trust the NBA. I love it, but I don't trust it.
Yeah.
What do you think about this bet? Where are you putting the money?
I'm going. Yeah, I was thinking about this actually on the way over here. Just thinking about how his, suspension in that Cavs series, whatever, 5-6 years ago, cost them a lot. When he game 5, I think he could have helped
cost them the series.
Right?
I think. Yeah.
I'm gonna go. As much as he's a hothead and as much as he is, a frustrated man on the court and, I play like shit, I'm going to go with growth, human growth potential. And so we're putting $75 on this in order to prove to ourselves that human beings can learn and grow. I want to, when we talk about narratives of the NBA, this is one of them. He's going to show you and I both, I have grown as a human being. I know my potential. I know what I'm expected of. I will not get ejected from one of these games. I will not accrue that many. I will not get suspended. I'll say, maybe he gets 2 more techs.
1 in each game.
Over the course of the next couple games, but he's not going to get 2 to get out and that's stuff. And then you got a plus 800 on this. So human growth potential. That's what we're banking on right now.
Yeah. Well, if you're banking on human growth potential, then I'm not winning that money. So
we need a feel good story right now.
Get off the fence here, dude. Okay. Well, we'll see if we can win some of this money back. Appreciate you handling the bank there.
Yeah.
That is going to be today's episode. Thank you all so much for joining us. Al, thank you for coming back, man.
It is a pleasure to be here. I know that it's difficult to not have Clayton's boring, monotonous voice next to you. So I just, like to spice it up a little bit for you. Appreciate being here. I'm excited for the last couple of games of the season.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'll be chiming in a little bit. I'll send you a note before the season's done for you to read on there at least.
Okay. Well, we're definitely going to get you back. You're not getting out that easy.
Good.
Appreciate it. Everybody go check out Al's work, listen to his bands, just do everything Al touches.
All the things.
Is great.
Go to gate14.net. That's my plug for today. Gate14.net. Come visit me at the gym and don't even work out. Just hang out. That's fine by me.
Sick. I love that. Okay. So the song that we are leaving everybody with today, it's not punk in genre, but it's punk in spirit. And that to me is more important than anything. This is from Shin Hyun and Yupjuns, a South Korean group from the 70s. The song is Long Long Night off their 1974 self-titled LP on Chigu Records. I went down a rabbit hole like a couple years ago of just getting into the psychedelic rock scene from Korea in the 70s, and came across this album, this group. Shin Hyun has done a few different projects. They're all super good. And it's punk in spirit because he actually got asked by the military dictator of South Korea, Park, to write a song for him in favor of him because he was such a popular musician, and he refused. And instead he wrote a song that was about the beautiful landscape of Korea and the natural wonders of Korea. And then he ended up later, because of his, active work in protesting the regime and all that, he was arrested as a political prisoner, was tortured. All of the crazy story. His music was banned from South Korea until Park was assassinated. So the 1980s, his music was banned. Incredible story. The music is rad. It's super good. Hope you all enjoy it. Hope you all have a good weekend. I will see you on Monday. Remember to be kind to yourselves, be kind to each other. Thank you so much.
home.